Good morning. Thank you for joining us. It is Off the Press, the program where we bring you up to speed on the latest headlines making the rounds in the newspapers. We have quite a number of them today to take a look at. I'm not doing this alone. I have company. My name is Felicity Ezewuike, by the way. I also have Tubosun, Akeju, public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
And of course, we have Raymond Nkannebe. He's a legal practitioner. Very glad you could join us.
It's my pleasure.
All right, gentlemen, let's get down to it. We have This Day newspaper, and right off, we also have Vanguard. We'll start with This Day newspaper. The front, the screamer here is PDP to petition UN, others over military role in presidential poll. It has one rider, insist on challenging Buhari's victory in court. That's on the front page of This Day newspaper. Violence persists in Zamfara. Bandits kill 40 in fresh attacks, also on the front page. Court sacks Kanu PDP governorship candidate. If you've been following the news, you would have heard details of that. But in case you missed it, please go to page 6 of the paper to get details. At the very top of the paper, we have Buhari faces hard choices on economy, says report. Oil prices rebound to $66 on US-China deal. Details is on page 8. All of this on the front page of This Day newspaper. And of course, the celebration still goes on. The president is on the front page of the paper. Yeah, right there. Okay, on the back page, we have Akeju. He's writing on Nigeria, a Jindu comment. What does that mean? You have to go read it to find out. Okay, gentlemen, I'll start with you, Raymond. Which of these headlines would you want to talk about first?
Well, let me just react to the PDP's position that they're going to petition the United Nations over what happened at the last election. And when I saw the headline, I was wondering what would a petition the United Nations have to do. You know, I think there's a point within, at which these politicians will learn to devise homegrown solutions to solve their problems. The law is clear. If you contest an election and you're not comfortable with the outcome, you approach the court and present your case before the court. I mean, the judiciary has, on several occasions, shown that they're independent, that they can do justice without any fear or favor. The United Nations sentiment will not change anything about what has happened. At best, it's just another probably whipping up sentiments that will not help them at the end of the day.
Tubosun.
I think that oil price is, at $66 per barrel. It's catching my attention there because there's also the news about how much was paid for subsidy in 2018 in the report that was released by NBS. And I mean, that's getting my attention because anytime there's a rise in the prices of crude oil in the international market, it's a blessing for Nigeria because it's more money. But on the flip side of the gist is that we're going to be paying more for PMS, which is subsidized by government. And it seems like the country is having a hard time about subsidy because we do not have the infrastructure for mass transit. So any shift in the price of PMS seems to affect, it's usually we have a domino effect on the prices of goods and properties, and I think that that's something that is a bullet that we'll have to bite at some point in this country, because if last year we paid about 2.7 trillion on subsidy, that's good enough money to have real system that will stop you and I and a lot of people from using their cars, and that will reduce the demand and the pressure on government, for these things. So I think that's a major issue. When I heard those figures, I was screaming.
Wow. Buhari does have hard choices on the economy to make. What concerns Nigerians like me is please do not transfer the increase to me. I want to buy fuel and move around.
That's why I said it's a big problem, because unless we fix our mass transit infrastructure, then the removal of subsidy will always bring a lot of pain, and there won't be any close substitute to fixing that.
All right, move to the Vanguard newspaper now. FG persecuting my family associates. Atiku cries out. And then it has 3 riders to that story. Says they're paying the price for supporting him. Why we arrested Atiku's son-in-law, Babalele lawyer, EFCC speaks. Adds he is held over laundering of 150 million to be released soon. And then Vanguard did this start thing on the front page, right there, to tell you where to go look for details of that story. Campaign on the front page. The governorship election is around the corner, so you see that also. All right, and then at the very top of the paper, the Vanguard newspaper, we have this one that says, why Abiodun will defeat Amosu's candidate. There you have it on the front page, just this little thing here. And then we also have our leaders not speaking out against evil. Let's see if our camera can capture some of those for you. We also have police arrest 223 persons over electoral offenses, sundry crimes. You'll find details on page 7. That's according to the acting IGP. If you've been following our news bulletins, you might have seen that one already. And Lagos governorship poll, Ohanaeze Ndigbo backs Sanwo-Olu 66 slots in his cabinet. Interesting development. At the very bottom of the paper, we have alleged 3.9 billion naira fraud. Court terminates charges against late Bade, forfeits his firm's assets to the federal government. APC readjust plan to unleash Buhari's charm on 5 PDP states. And then Oyo APC PDP at war over alleged plan to use fake police NURTW to cause unrest. You find details on page 42. If you want a little bit of humor this morning, go find the Mr. and Mrs. cartoon on the front page of the Vanguard. Trust me, they never fail to put a smile on your face. And of course, on the back page of the Vanguard, we have sports. But quickly, Tubosun, which of these ones would you want to talk about?
I think that the picture is even what is getting my attention. You know, the APC campaign and the PDP campaign. One states that has, enjoyed, almost no threat to the party who becomes a governor is Lagos State. The threat has been very, very minimal to APC. And for the
some persons will disagree with you.
I think the threat has been very low because in this same state, the widest margin that we've had in the governorship election came from Lagos State, which is during, I think, Fashola's second time. I think it was huge. Ambody's time against Jimmy Agbaje was not so much. But this time around, despite the, the fact that Ambody is not going for a second term, and you would have thought that Jimmy Agbaje will have perhaps an easier campaign to execute. It still seems to be a very the uphill movement for Jimmy Agbaje.
The PDP might not agree with you, but you're entitled to your opinion, of course.
Well, that's what it seems, because there was towards the end of, in the last 1 to 2 years, there has been when a government becomes a bit unpopular in terms of its policy, perhaps because they've not been well executed or because they've not explained it properly, which is what happened, at some point during Ambody's administration. There were 2 major policies that kind of became a big issue in the state. You would have thought that during that period, Agbaje would have had a bigger advantage, but I can see that both of them seem to be gathering the same level of crowd, but we know how these things work. Political crowd is always political crowd.
Raymond, which other headline would you want to talk
let me
about?
just react to the position of Ohanaeze. When I saw that news, I was like, are they trying to make a vote feast from the initial position in the presidential push, probably to find a way to warm their way back into this present government? Because remember, in the presidential poll, the organization came out and supported Atiku. Then all of a sudden in Lagos, they are now trying to pitch their tent with the APC's candidate. So perhaps the organization are trying to sort of prove to APC that they are not opposing.
But there are those that are wondering if there are different factions of this Ohanaeze Ndigbo, because it seems like they have different groups.
Different
One
states.
will come speak. Are they actually speaking for Igbos or is personal interest? Some have questioned that as well.
Yes, I agree with you on that.
Okay, we move to the Punch newspaper. We'll go to the Punch newspaper now. On the front page, PDP to petition UN, others. Same thing on this day newspaper. It seems just felt like I'd read it before. PDP to petition UN, others over military role killings during February 23 polls. We're already taking a look at that. Gridlock has fired God's Ogunma's transit bus on Otedola Bridge. Otedola Bridge again. Details on page 4. You will also see the story. Let me just raise it up so you see the paper we're looking at. That's the Punch newspaper. At the very top, Buhari's top decisions will be in Nigeria's best interest. That's according to the SGF. We also have EFCC quizzes Atika's son-in-law for allegedly laundering 150 million euros. That's a whole ton of money. Kidnappers abduct Super Eagles Samuel Kalu's mother, demand 50 million naira ransom. That's also on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Woman gives birth to triplet after losing 2 children to kidnappers. Some joy. Okay, we'll go to the back page. Why is ethnic hate rising in Lagos? Good question. And Potters at my 12th market, a picture on the back page. You might want to check that out yourself. Gentlemen, let's get to it. Just which would you want to talk about this morning? I suspect you'll be talking about this gridlock cost by.
I really think that we need to upgrade public safety measures. Health, safety and environment from the government side has to be really upgraded. Otedola Bridge, again, with this fire incident, I don't think it's not even up to a year that we had the tanker problem there, and now a mass transit bus. We need to investigate and take proper care of cars and trucks that can cause a lot of public damage, because the damage here, apart from the environmental damage, there's a damage to the road also, the gridlock and all of that. So I think that special measures has to be put in place to prevent issues like this. Well,
for me, the SGF's comment that Buhari's tough decisions would be in Nigeria's best interest is a bit suspect for me. I understand that it is every leader's responsibility to make decisions that will be in the best interest of the country. But then when given the kind of decisions this man has made in the past, and the SGF coming to say that his tough decisions will be in the best interest of the country, is the kind of trying to use in disguise to get legitimacy for despotism. So as much as his decisions should be in the best interest of the country, there should be effort at calibrating the toughness so it does not shade into extremism.
I think he's actually referring, because I'm taking a peep at inside page. He spoke in Yola, and he says allayed fears that Nigeria's economy could worsen during Buhari's administration. So by extension, it means,
well, in that context.
Yes. Okay, we'll go to the Daily Sun now. March 9 elections, IGP talks tough over Google polls. That's it on your screen finally. And then at the corner you see Igbo leaders make case for Senate presidency. Details on page 9. There is one rider to that script I'd like you to take a look at. Once politicians against disruption, breach of peace. That's the IGP speaking. Still on that Otedola Bridge, there is, okay, this one is firefighters battling to save BRT bus engulfed in flames in Lagos. Yes, this doesn't look like Otedola Bridge. It's like another fire situation. There you have it on your screen. You might want to go look at it. SGF is captured here again. We also have court nullifies Kano PDP Gubo primary. I wonder what's going to happen there. I remain candidate, says Yusuf, page 4-5. There's conspiracy of silence. PDP is speaking. Obi thanks Nigerians for their votes. Let me rush to our guests to get their quick thought on this one. Court nullifies Kano PDP Gubo primary. I remain candidate, says Yusuf. Raymond, what do you make of it?
It's a serious problem. Before now, I said the political parties are not helping the work of INEC. When they rush to court, they don't get their act together, and then just right in front of the polls, they try to put INEC in a fix. Now, what happens? I don't know if the other party who the court, I don't know what the court said that the party should go and conduct a fresh primaries and then send a candidate to INEC. So before now, INEC was printed ballot papers with evidencing Abbas name.
Or is it 4 days or 5 days to the election?
So it's really crazy. I'd also going forward, INEC would devise a means to make sure they sanction political parties for always putting them in the wrong corner every time.
Do you share a similar thought?
Well, I think that what needs to be in place is enough processes to guide against using the loopholes in the law against INEC or against the electoral processes, because if 4 days to the election the court is still issuing a judgment on the election that's going to happen, then I think there's a flaw in either, in that system, well, it may be the law or the court processes, but there's a flaw there. Every judgment has to come perhaps a bit of time before it all. They will have to wait till after the poll. Another one that is getting my attention, there will be the issue of the Guba polls. To be very sincere, I think that the Guba poll is actually there's more security risk than even the presidential poll. There's tension in the Southwest. Election is only going to happen in 3 states: Lagos State, Ogun State, and Oyo State. Lagos probably is looking like the most peaceful, but that's relative, because going by what happened during the last election, it was, we still have the fears of, attacks here and there, the flashpoints. But Ogun State and Oyo State. Ogun State, you have the issue where the sitting governor is a member of a party but is supporting another party. That's already an issue on its own. And Oyo State, there seems to be a lot of allegiance here and there and all of that. So I think that beyond talking tough, I think the IGP and all the security chiefs should work very, very hard, intelligence and everything, to make sure that we do not have breakdown of law and order during Saturday.
I do hope that they are listening, because it's imperative that Nigerians are safe. No politician's ambition is what's the life of Nigerians. We've said that so much. It sounds like a cliche. You can go to the back page of the Daily Sun. You'll see something on muted celebrations across the land. I guess it's on President Buhari's winning the election. We move to the New Telegraph now. Yeah, that's it on your screen quickly. Thank you, production team. The New Telegraph is next now. We have Amosu Okorocha ignore APC, intensify campaign for APM AA governorship polls. It's on Saturday. It's here before us. That's it on your screen. At the very top, you will see 3.9 billion naira fraud. Bade loses 5 Abuja properties, $1 million to federal government. And then at the very bottom, dangerous ride. You need to see that. I mean, it's even shocking to look at it. People hanging on a moving train in Ikeja, Lagos. At the bottom, you will see, really sad to see this, really. Poll result, PDP files petition against Buhari today. To petition UN, army to probe soldiers' alleged abuse. And then this little one on the blue bar, where you have the white write-up, you can see there. Scientists reverse Parkinson's brain damage in breakthrough trial. Wow, that's great news. And on the back, we have the real ballot box snatchers, stomach democracy, Kazima paper. You might want to go read that one. I'm sure reading up to now. Okay, gentlemen, quickly, we don't have much time anymore. I mean, what do you make of this dangerous ride?
I was just saying it, that the health safety system of government will need to be more intentional about it. God forbid any accident on this train. I bet you not only the people in the train will be affected, the environment around there, the people, the innocent people passing. And it is not difficult to control this, because at some point the train will stop. So how did we get to a point where we have a train moving like this in a country in 21st century,
on top of it?
And this didn't start yesterday. So we're just careless. I'm sorry, we're just a set of very careless people.
I mean, I hope that leaders, as they see this kind of picture, they're pushed to take some sort of action. Raymond, which other headline would you want to talk about?
I'm happy to hear that finally PDP will be filing their petition today. By the law, they have 21 days to do that. All along, I've been hearing bickerings here and there, and I've been wondering why they're making this noise. I hope they're making sure they file a petition within time. Since it was the last time we had a presidential election being contested at the court was in 2011, when Buhari lost to good luck. And since then, we've not had, the Supreme Court have not had the opportunity to pronounce on some of these recent developments in the electoral law. So even if Atiku does not win that petition, at least it will give the court an opportunity to pronounce on certain evolutions in the Electoral Act for subsequent elections.
All right, moving forward, last paper I have with me. I'm hopeful we will be doing a bit of sports after now. We'll go on a break and see what happens after that. The Nation newspaper. Defections, court battles as parties intensify campaigns. It has 3 riders to that story. Support base for Abiodun swells in Ogun. Kanu PDP ESCO defects to APC. There you have it on your screen. Akwara governor intimidating workers. More riders for you. And then court convicts Bade's firm of 3.97 billion naira fraud. We've taken that one already. My intervention in Oyo APC by Tinubu. That's another issue. We also have CBN chief Emefiele still in office. Why is that the story? We might get to know from our analyst here. Oil rises to $65.25 on trade deals. You find details on page 11. It's right there on your front page. And then that man that's standing is ex-NBA Musa leads 22 against Seychelles. That's it on the front page of the Nation newspaper. Let's see what's on the back. Lagos, a strong case for Sanwo-Olu. The campaigns are strong on the back page of the Nation. They have it. And then you have hardball, Malaya's theatricality. Even the word is hard to pronounce. Gentlemen, please.
Okay, CBN, the issue about CBN, we're a very funny country though. So there's the issue of his tenure ending sometime very soon. And some people are already saying he's supposed to be on the terminal leave to leave office at the moment. Some are also of the opinion that he might get the chance to have a second term. And already, while we're still in the middle of the electioneering process, you know, it's started to become an issue in Nigeria. I just think that sometimes let's just allow due process to take its part. You know, the man will either be asked to stay in office for another term, or will proceed on his terminal leave very soon. I think that, you know, it's a bit of a non-issue there.
Okay, Raymond, which headline?
Well, it is expected that we'll have defections across party line, given the outcome of the presidential polls. Of course, politicians who are in the other party will want to try to cruise themselves into the party that will eventually then the party in Abuja. So that's why you see those movements from PDP to APC just to secure political relevance and all of that. And the court battles, particularly the case of what happened in Kano State that we've pointed out before now, it's also very bad. But then we'll see what happens between now and Saturday when the elections are due to hold.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. At this point, I'll say Tubosun, Akeju, public affairs analyst. Glad to have you join us. And of course, Raymond Nkannebe, legal practitioner. Very glad you could make it to our studios today. We'll take a little break. We'll be right back with sports. Stay with us. Glad you could stay with us. Sports analysis is up, and we have the main person to do that, our sports analyst.
Good morning, Felicity.
Good morning. Thank you for coming in. All right, we'll do this quickly. We have less than 2 minutes to do it. We have, this is the Sporting Sun. And we also do so much Sporting Life. They both sound alike. We have Ihanacho Chukwueze dropped. What's that about? Quickly.
Yeah, it's about the Super Eagles team list has been released by the coach, Janet Raw. Looking forward to the game between Nigeria and Seychelles, a dead rubber game. Nigeria has already qualified for the African Nations Cup, so probably the coach is trying to try out some new players. But then Ihanacho has not really been in good form for Leicester City. Probably the reason why the coach has to drop him. But a couple of new guys are in the team, so I'm looking forward to that game against Seychelles. And as much as we don't need the game, but it's good for us to try out some new guys to see how good they are to feature for the Super Eagles of Nigeria.
Yeah, what was this dramatic headline about Ghana devastated over?
Yeah, it's about Samuel Kalu's mom that was kidnapped, and there's a ransom that has been asked for by the kidnappers. They said they want about 15 million naira ransom. I don't know if he will get to pay that. This has happened over time. It's not the first time it's going to happen in Nigeria about the Super Eagles players. It happened to John Mikel Obi when his dad was kidnapped, but he was later rescued by the Nigerian police. And one of the ex-Super Eagles players has also come out to say that these players should learn to probably buy their parents' houses outside their villages, probably somewhere in Abuja or outside the country.
Why would they do that? I mean,
probably
you
give them
shouldn't
proper
run away.
security because we know they are targets for these kidnappers. So I think probably they should take them away from the village and provide better security for them.
Okay, just one thought on this Sporting Sun before we go.
Okay, I'll look at Mourinho. He's back again in the news. He says he's boasting, said that he built Real Madrid, not Zidane or Ancelotti. We know Jose Mourinho is a good manager, but hey, he shouldn't be bragging about what he has done with his past in Real Madrid. I think he should give accolades to those people when they really do deserve those accolades.
Yeah, thank you very much, Udoka, for coming in. I know we couldn't do a lot of justice to it, so I urge you to go out to your vendor and grab a copy of either of these papers to get all the latest gist in the sports world. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Felicity Ezewuike. We're back tomorrow with all the fresh headlines. Make sure you keep a date. Take care.